what you can do is click on Databases A to Z underneath Research Tools. And that'll take you to a page which will have a large number of sources and databases that you can search to look for certain articles and subjects and things like that. So typically in our field, what we do is go to either PubMed or some sort of medical related journal. There also are some exercise and sport related databases, but PubMed is one of the best sources as far as finding clinically relevant information. And so if you go to the P's and go down to the PU, it'll be here at the very bottom, PubMed. And that's generally, if I'm using a library source or database, this is one of my first go-tos for that. And then you can either search into the search box, just put in, for example, let's say your topic is on diabetes, and part of the paper you need to discuss the pathophysiology. You can just type in diabetes and pathophysiology, which being this basic, and notice how it suggests type 2 diabetes. Most likely, if you're doing diabetes, you'll be choosing type 2 diabetes. But if not, type 1 is very well acceptable, or you can do both. So then if you search, now notice it brings up a lot of articles. And so to minimize this, you can put in more specific keywords. But for now, just to show you how to do a basic search, I'm not going to get too much into it and spend that much time. So let's say that we want to check this one out, the pathophysiology of defective proteostasis in the hypothalamus. We learned a little bit about the hypothalamus, and so that might be interesting. And then from there, you can see where it shows you first thing is the abstract. Now normally articles, especially through the libraries page, will have links to full text. And if you notice here on this page, you'll see in the top right, full text links. And that's where you can click to get the actual article itself. But not all articles will be available to you. So if they're not, and the abstract provides enough information, you're more than welcome to use just the abstract and still cite the journal article, as long as you're getting the information from that particular source. But this one seems like we can get the full text, so let's see what happens if we click on one of those. And then you'll see that it takes us, yes, to the full text. And even separate, oh, maybe not. Okay, so see, it doesn't look like this one actually will provide the full text unless we purchase it. So let's try a different one. Find it at U of L. And then from there, view full text. Okay, so this was the problem. I wasn't connected. So let's go ahead and get connected. Okay, so now we may have, maybe not. Okay, bad example, possibly. I'm going to try one more thing, because this may give me the option to show you how to request material. So now that we see that we cannot get the article, what we can do is request it from the library. So if this happens to you, what you can do is look for get it at U of L, and then from there see where it says request item through interlibrary loan. Well, click on that, and then what they can do is actually put in a request. And this is again something you'll have to use your username and password. should be the same as your U of L and ULink password. Okay, and then what it does is it puts in the information of the article, which won't always be automatically filled in, but in this case it is. And then from there, it looks like everything they need is filled in. Not wanted after, we'll say November 30th is, and then if you submit the request, probably in a couple of days, I'll get the actual scanned copy of that article. So that's one way to get the articles, but again, you don't need to necessarily get the full length article. Another source to which you can search would be Google Scholar. So if you just type in scholar.google.com, this will pretty much search all the databases all at once. So again, it'll provide, if you had to do a basic search, it'll provide you with a lot of articles that you may or may not find relevant. So it's best to minimize the search. So in this case, for example, with diabetes, we'll do type 2 diabetes. And if you put things in quotations, it will often search for just that phrase. It makes it much more easier and also brings back a lot less hits. So type 2 diabetes, pathophysiology, and then we'll also say risk factors, just to give us a little more minimal information, but still relevant to what we want to talk about. So here you can see that also, if you're overwhelmed with articles, on the left side you can choose a custom range, which I would encourage you to find articles that are at least 10 years old, no more than that, because at that point some of the research is no longer relevant, or it's already been debunked or proven otherwise, or maybe it's something that has recently been discovered that you may have overlooked with the too broad of a search. So another way to narrow it down is, we'll say from 2006 to 2016, and then here it brings back a lot fewer articles. So I'll just go to the second one here. Seems like it might be pretty interesting based off the title. Being the New England Journal of Medicine, you know it's going to be very, very credible, and also probably incredible science, because this is one of the prestigious journals, especially medical journals. So from here you can read about it. You don't have to necessarily read every article that you cite, but if you do get any information from the articles, paraphrase it and cite it. Do not copy it word for word, even if you use quotations. That's still plagiarizing. So again, do not copy word for word. Make sure you paraphrase, restate what they say, put it in your own words, and then from there cite the source. And sometimes you may come across articles or sites that don't provide relevant, or it might be seem relevant information, but it's not a credible source. For example, Wikipedia. Now, using Google Scholar you won't find this, but let's say you are using Wikipedia for some sources. You might be able to actually get a credible reference from the Wikipedia site. So what you can do is pull up that Wikipedia page all about diabetes, or all about whatever your topic is, and then when they're talking about something that you might want to use in your article, again, do not copy and paste. You will get caught. That is plagiarism. But rephrase what they're saying and cite the source that they use. So for example, let's say you wanted to cite the source regarding the rates, and you want to put an actual, anytime you use numbers and stats and facts, cite the source. So in this case, probably find one a little bit more recent than 2013, but we'll go with it. So reference 15 and 16 is what they're getting this from. And then on the right side you see where it comes up with that reference. If you click on one of these, the DOI number would generally take you. 2006 is the source. So again, that right there should be a red flag regarding that statement for 2013. But again, So here's 2013. Okay, 2013 from the Lancet. That's where they're getting that stat from. So we can check that source, make sure that it is a relevant and credible source, which the Lancet usually is. So if we go there, it'll take us to the article. So it looks like that they were citing a credible source. But again, just to make sure that the numbers are correct, you would go in and look for the actual number, which in this case, more than 200 million incident cases, 2013. Oh, that's about tooth pain, I think. Sorry. Oh, some other disease, diarrhea maybe. So you can, yeah, that's not what you want to actually. Oh, this is all about chronic disease. Wow, sorry, I completely was way off. Let's get the full text, PDF. And then from there, let's see if we can get full text. And I know this seems like a lot of work for one source, but it should be. That's the point of doing a literature search. You want to go through and find credible sources. If you can't, okay, then you find the sources that are credible. In this case, I can't find it, where they got that number regarding diabetes. PDF, it doesn't look like it's going to be, hopefully. Aha, yes. Okay, so here's the full text, and let's do a search for diabetes. Here we go. It's in a table. Okay, and here it's still difficult to find. But let's see, table 3. So these are 35. See, yeah, this perfect example of why you can't trust it's hard to tell where they got this from, that number. So yeah, it's not a good example to use, but let's say there was something that they got from this article that we found and put a number in there, and boom, you could cite this article then. But it doesn't look like that Wikipedia page did that. If they did, then it's hidden somewhere in that table. Anyway, I don't have time to go through all that. So that's one way in which you can go through a source that isn't necessarily credible, but find one that is. Now, let's say you did a Google Scholar search, and you want to cite, and you want to go ahead and save that source. And what you can do, if you look at each article, you can see where it says cite, and then also where it says save. If you click on cite, boom, there you go. That's how you need to cite the source. Better yet, notice at the bottom there where it says EndNote. Now I'm going to show you how to actually set up an EndNote account for free, where you can save your references to EndNote. If you click on that, it will download the actual citation, and then when you have EndNote on your computer, open it up and it'll automatically put that reference in EndNote. I will do this download and install later. Cancel. There is the reference that I was just saved. So that's one quick and easy way to save your sources and then have them in a database ready to go. And that is what I'll show you how to do in another video, as well as how to actually cite the source whenever you are working on your paper. Thanks for listening and watching the whole thing. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and live long and prosper. Not that I'm a Star Trek fan or anything.